Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, Lo-Fi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number, ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number, MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Sports Talk with RJ. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And I'll admit, a couple weeks ago, you were right, Justin, about Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. I mean, now the Colts on Monday have given permission for Taylor to seek a trade, and right now this is not a good situation for the Colts or Jonathan Taylor. In my opinion, I still think they should try to hang on to Taylor because, again, you got a rookie quarterback who I think should be starting. You got a young quarterback, and you don't really want to get rid of his best weapon. I know he plays the running back position, but I don't think you really want to get rid of a young quarterback's best weapon. It's not like the Giants who paid a quarterback $40 million. This is a young quarterback. This is a really, really, really young quarterback that you have here, and you don't want that quarterback. You don't want that quarterback not to have his best offensive weapon.
Yeah, absolutely, and because they don't have much behind him right now. I know they have Zach Moss, but he's banged up. And then behind him, you got Deion Jackson, who rookie or third year out of Duke hasn't had a ton of carries, and Evan Hall, who is a rookie out of Northwestern. So yeah, you know, you don't have a ton of depth behind Jonathan Taylor at the running back spot. Again, I think the Colts are doing this too, where he's trying to seek a deal, and I think this is kind of going to prove they're trying to prove to Jonathan Taylor, like, hey, you know, it's tough as a running back to get a big long-term contract with a lot of money. Like, he's not going to get McCaffrey like money. You know, he should be up, you know. So, like, I think that's part of why the Colts may be trying to show him to that organization. You know, they're not the only organization here that's trying to not pay him or not give him what he wants here. So it'll be interesting. But, yeah, if you take him away from Anthony Richardson, a young rookie quarterback, and, yeah, it's, you know, that could be very concerning because, you know, Michael Pittman had a nice year. But last couple of years, the wide receivers have kind of had some injury concerns, and you always wonder about that. So, yeah, it could be a long year for Indianapolis here.
Oh, absolutely, without question. I mean, yeah, I think it's still going to be a tough year for Indianapolis either way, if Taylor plays or not, because they're breaking in a rookie quarterback. But, you know, yeah, it'll make it even harder if they don't have Jonathan Taylor. So, yeah, it's a really bad situation now. And I honestly, at this point, think Taylor's not going to be a Colt. It's not going to be a Colts soon. I think they're going to trade him, but it will be tough for the Colts to trade Taylor because right now the Colts want a first-round pick for him, and it's going to be and teams do not want to give up a first-round pick for a running back, no matter how good the running back is.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's going to be the interesting part of it, because I know like the Dolphins have maybe some interest there in Dalvin Cook. I know they kind of express it, but like I don't know if they go out and go trade a first-round pick. And then like some of these teams, like they don't value running backs as much as we know, and you're giving up a first-round pick for a running back who, again, is one of the best in the sport, but teams don't really want to do that. So and I know they're looking for a first-round pick or even like a kind of package of them, and it'd be interesting to see if they could get a second or third rounder out of for Jonathan Taylor. But if they're looking for that first rounder, I don't know how many teams are going to be willing to give that up, because a lot of teams I feel like in Super Bowl that are kind of in contention for Super Bowl, the running back rooms are good enough where it's like, you added Jonathan Taylor, it's going to make it really, really good. But like, it'll be interesting to see if one of those top teams go after him, or, I think it's going to be tough for one of the teams, or for a team to go out there and trade a first rounder for him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be really, really hard. And I don't think the Colts are going to get that. But the biggest thing now is which teams you think would be best fits for Jonathan Taylor. And I got three of them. Number one for me is the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins did not have a good running game last year. I still don't think they have a good running game. And I think this would be a really, really good fit on a team that has a really good roster. But really the biggest hole on that team outside of their offensive line is their running game, because it's their offensive line, because as Armstead can't stay healthy, but their running game is not that good. So I think it would be a really good fit with the Dolphins. Number two, I'll go with the Buffalo Bills. You've seen the issues we'll get to those, the issues with Diggs and Allen. I think that would be a really, really good fit for that team. I think that would be a really good fit for them. I think Buffalo, as we've seen in the past couple of years, they've really struggled to run the football. I think that would be a good fit. I think the Bills would be a good fit. And then number three, I'll go with the Dallas Cowboys. I think Tony Pollard come off a broken leg. We'll see how he is. If we don't know if he's going to be 100% coming into this year. So I think that Jonathan Taylor would be a great fit there as well.
Yeah, my theory, same one here is with you as the Dolphins at number one. I know, they really, as you mentioned, they really showed that Mike McDaniel coming over for the Niners. We know he really wants to establish that running game. You could add a guy like that. I know it seems like they expressed some interest there in Dalvin Cook. I don't know, if it was a money thing or not, or, I know there's some off the field things going on with them. So I feel like, maybe there's a possibility there. They go after him. My second team is the Eagles. I could see Howie Roseman, they got a good trio of running backs there, but to go get another clear number one, take out some injury concerns. I think they got like a little bit over $6 million left in cap space. They could do some restructuring there if they want to get them. We've seen, Roseman could be very aggressive at times, and I feel like, that would add Jonathan Taylor to an elite offense there in Philly. And then my third one's the Bears. They still got a lot of money left. They got over $15 million left. They got a running back by committee right now. They got some upside at that position, but again, you add like another star there with Justin Fields. The offensive line should be a little bit better. But adding, they really, I think they're in the NFC North. Adding Jonathan Taylor, I think, would be a nice piece for the Bears, who are still, maybe a year away from being a playoff team.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I would really like Taylor with the Bears. Imagine him with Justin Fields. That would be a really, really good combination. And he played in the Midwest. He went to Wisconsin in college. So that would be a really good fit there. Yeah,
it absolutely would. They'd be fun to watch him in that offense. And the stuff they could do with Jonathan Taylor and Justin Fields in the option game. So, that would definitely be I think could be a very nice fit there for Jonathan Taylor if that would happen.
Oh, without a doubt. Now we're going to move on to our next story, and that's the issues with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And the Bills did not look good at all in preseason on Saturday night. 3 possessions, no points. This Bills team really, really struggled. And I don't know if you're going to take if this means if this is going to mean it's the preseason. We know the preseason. It happens. You could take the preseason with a grain of salt, but still. This was an issue before the season, after the season ended last year, and now it seems to maybe be an issue coming into this season, I'm starting to think I picked the Bills. I kept saying the Bills were going to win this division. The Bills were going to win this division. If this relationship can't get fixed, they're not going to win this division. And there's rumors out there that he wants to be traded.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the first time that they, I know there's some at the end with Stephon Diggs and the Vikings. I know there are some issues there. So it's not the first time we've seen this from them. But yeah, that's actually, I know we'll get to like the 5 kind of our preseason takeaways. And yeah, the Bills offense was one of my takeaways. And I'm very concerned right now. I think they've had a fight or two during practice so far this camp. Like, it just seems like something just off right now with all of them. Yeah, it goes all the way back to the end of the season. And yeah, it's something where, like, yeah, it is preseason. You kind of take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, you're starting to get to a point here where it's like, all right, maybe this is a bigger issue than maybe we all thought originally. And yeah, there could be some effects here. And yeah, there's it does definitely open the door here for the Jets, I feel like, to win that division if the thing can't get settled sooner rather than later. Oh, it
absolutely opens up the door for the Jets. Right now, I'm starting to lean. We're going to get our picks next week, but I'm starting to lean. I'm not convinced about that the Bills are going to win this division now. I'm starting to lean towards the Jets because of the addition of Dalvin Cook, because of the talent they have on that roster. I know it takes time to put it together, but what Buffalo showed me, I know it's the preseason, but what Buffalo showed me on Saturday night, they showed me that this is a team that has some issues here. Even on the defensive side of the ball, they gave up 14 points. They got crushed to the Steelers on Saturday night. There's definitely issues there. I'm definitely starting to lean Jets. I won't make my final decision until next week, but I'm definitely starting to lean towards the Jets.
Yeah, I am too a little bit. I still just worry about the Jets beginning of the season too, where they, that tough schedule there is going to be difficult. But even for the Bills, like week 2, they got the Raiders at home. That again, they should win that one pretty convincingly. Washington on the road, like with Washington's defense, I don't think that's going to be a cupcake for them. You got the Dolphins at home. You got Jacksonville out in London.
That's a really tough schedule early on. You got Miami. You got the just 2 division games. And then you got Jacksonville and London. That's going to be a tough game with Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be very, very – and they play the Giants. I know, all right. They're
Giants,
better.
Night.
They're probably better than the Giants, but they got the Giants in week 6.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not – that's not an easy schedule either. So, yeah, it takes some time here to figure that situation out there, and things don't go well. Yeah, it could be a very rocky start there. And, so, yeah, it could kind of – go south there. And I know like the Bills have kind of had the last couple of years, like middle of the season's kind of been where they've taken a little bit of a dive, and they usually kind of figure it out by the end. But yeah, this could be something where, they could get off to a rocky start. And if they do, I think this issue could only get worse.
Oh, absolutely. Without question. So we'll see what happens in Buffalo. We'll be monitoring the situation, but right now it looks like there are some issues. But we're going to move on to another issue with the top team in the AFC, and that's the Chiefs with Chris Jones. And he has hinted that he's going to extend his holdout all the way till week 8. And if you look at the Chiefs' schedule, they got to play the Jaguars and they got the Jets 2 of the first 4 weeks of the season. There's a very, very good chance this team could start 2-2. I would not be surprised at all if this team started 2-2 because they've lost a couple. They lost one of their best offensive linemen. They lost. I know Juju's not great, but they lost Juju Smith-Schuster. So I know they got number 15 back there, but we saw them I saw them in that week 1 of the preseason against the Saints, and the Saints marched right down the field against them. Jacksonville and the Jets are definitely. I think they're both going to put up 30 points if Chris Jones is not there. This is a little concerning for this team, and also they got the Chargers. So this is a little bit concerning for this team. In starting the season, I know they've made the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years, but all 3 of those years, they hosted the AFC Championship game at Arrowhead. There's a good chance if Chris Jones sits out 8 weeks, they could be playing that AFC Championship game in Jacksonville. They could be playing that AFC Championship game in Cincinnati, or they could be playing that AFC Championship game at MetLife Stadium if this continues.
Yeah, it's very possible. Mahomes, they've always been the host there in the AFC Championship game. And even week now, because the Lions' defense is so bad, that they could beat the Lions, but again, you don't have Chris Jones, against that offense.
Chris Jones, and that Lions offense is going to move the football. I know Jared Goff struggled on the road, but that Lions offense is going to move the football against you if you don't have Chris Jones. That's going to be a really, really good game opening night.
Yeah, like I think that's a game the Chiefs will win. But if their offense is out of sync, the Lions could definitely go in there and go knock them off. So, yeah, the first couple of weeks, there's definitely some concerns there. And, yeah, if he's not there, this team kind of, especially in this AFC where there's so many great quarterbacks that, yeah, you'd rather have home field advantage in January. And, yeah, if they don't, and Chris Jones holds out to week 8 and, comes back for, the game at Denver, that'll help. But look, this AFC again, because it sounds like Joe Burrow's going to be healthy at the start of the year. We'll see if the Ravens, that secondary, I know there are kind of some concerns there already, but the AFC there's kind of some open positions right now. Like if Chris Jones doesn't come back, and it's it's kind of going to be up for grabs now. It kind of feels like, but yeah, again, without Chris Jones, without that because they really showed to generate a pass rush so far in the preseason, and again, we know the defense has been a concern, and yeah, again, Patrick Mahomes can kind of cancel out some of those those throws that defense could have, but it is tough to kind of go ask him every week to go put up 35 points week in and week out. Some weeks you do need your defense to make a big stand in a big moment, and it could definitely be a problem here. Yeah, and especially if it go in the playoffs, even maybe not even have that bye either. That's that could could be something to look out for.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think they'll win the division. Honestly, even if Chris Jones misses half the year, I still think they win the division because they have that Chargers game at home. They got that Broncos game at home. And I just can't trust the Chargers. I can't trust the Chargers anymore. Justin Herbert's not a top 5 quarterback, and Brandon Staley is a coach that should not have a job. Okay, let's be honest. I can't trust the Chargers. So I still think they're going to win that division, even if Chris Jones is out half the year. Let me tell you, if Chris Jones is out half the year, I don't think they're getting the number 1 seed. No. I'll go back on that. I think because of their division not being as good, I still think they get the number 1 seed, but they don't have as good of a chance to get the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I don't think they will either. The Bengals have a chance, but again, their division's so much tougher that they might drop the game
football.
Or two.
The team that actually might have an outside shot at that if the Chiefs don't get the number 1 seed is the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they have their own line issues, but they got Trevor Lawrence and they got 3 rebuilding teams in their division.
Yeah, that could be 6 free victories right there for him. So, again, that's a good one. That very possible Jacksonville could sneak in there and take that number 1 spot up for grabs. So, yeah, that again, I do believe I agree with you. The Chargers again. I thought the Chargers should have fired Staley and gone out and gotten Sean Payton, but they decided to stick with Staley. So, yeah, I'm with you. They should be able to kind of cruise through that division because, I do have concerns about that Broncos team right now. So. Yeah, they should win the division, but yeah, it's not going to be as comfortable as I think maybe people thought going in. And yeah, we'll see. Again, Chiefs, they're going to be right there. We'll kind of, Andy Reid's such a phenomenal coach. They're often to score points, but yeah, that defense there in January, it could be a problem. Going on the road in the AFC Championship game and you're not playing in Arrowhead Stadium.
Absolutely. So we'll move on to Tampa. We'll move down to Tampa, and we'll talk about Baker being named the starting quarterback. This is pretty obvious. I think this was kind of obvious. I didn't think Kyle Trask was really going to get this job. I thought when they signed Baker that he was going to get the job. And this is the last chance for Baker. This is it. If Baker can't get it done here, he's done. This is his 3rd opportunity. Obviously he had his time with the Browns. He had a chance last year in Carolina. He failed there. If he fails here, it's over. It's over for him. So he's got to get the job done. It's his 3rd chance. Most guys, those quarterbacks don't get a 3rd chance in this league. Most quarterbacks get 2 chances, and that's it. But with him being the number 1 overall pick, he's going to get a 3rd shot. This is it. If he doesn't get it done here, it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it will be for him. And we kind of know what he is. He's okay. He's you got the Browns to a playoff, a couple years ago, but yeah, again, Tampa, it's not going to be great. I was kind of interesting to see if this thing was like if between Baker and Kyle Trask, if it was close. I figured maybe Tampa Bay would have gone with Kyle Trask, see what they got in him, just because what Baker's going to be, or we already know what Baker Mayfield is, but they end up giving to Baker. They got some weapons offensively. Like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin stay healthy. That's kind of a question mark.
Problem is their offensive line's not as good, and their running game is terrible.
Yeah. And that's a problem. I feel like Baker needs that running game.
Baker absolutely needs a running game. You saw what the 1 year he had success in Cleveland. The 1 year he got to the playoffs. Nick Chubb had a huge year. Baker absolutely needs a running game to be successful.
Yeah, so that's that's kind of concerning. Again, in that division, yeah, maybe they could find a way to sneak in 6, 7, 8 wins, but I don't see it yet. That offensive line, I think, is going to struggle yet again, and we'll see if I don't know if Godwin and Evans could stay healthy for 17 games. I think it's a tough ask. So yeah, I wonder if some point too they just halfway through the year they're kind of out of it. They just give it to Kyle Trask, say here, show us if you can be the quarterback.
Oh, that very easily could happen. They could be like 1-7, 2-7, 2-6 in the middle of the season, and just give and hand Trask the reins. I could very, very easily see that happen, because at this point, if they're bad, they're probably thinking about drafting a quarterback, and they're probably just gonna, if Baker's not good, they'll see what Trask has, and they're really, that's what makes the most sense. Start Baker and then go to Trask, because I feel like you can't really start Trask and then go to Baker because you don't know how Baker's would have handled being benched.
Yeah, you don't. We don't. So yeah, it'll be interesting. And yeah, I agree. If things go south quickly, which it could with that, with the roster right now. I could see things where Trask comes in middle of the year, takes over, and because there's some good quarterback coming out of this class. So it's always a risk taking a quarterback in the draft. It always is, but we'll see if Tampa does that and see if they give, I think Kyle Trask definitely has a chance to try to switch Tampa Bay, that if he could be the guy eventually if things don't pan out here for Baker this year.
Absolutely. Now we're going to go to our top 5 takeaways from week 2 of the preseason, and I'll start with mine. And number 1 for me, to me, the Steelers are going to be a playoff team. I know the Bills have their issues on offense. I'll get to that. But I really like the way their defense played. And their offense has been really, really good this preseason. Kenny Pickett has looked really, really good. It seems like every time they've had the ball, they've scored. And I like seeing that. I think their offense is definitely going to be improved. You got George Pickens in year 2. You got Kenny Pickett in year 2. And you got Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season in his career. You got the talent. You got the coaching. I feel like you got the quarterback. I'm telling you, the Steelers, to me, are going to be a playoff team. They are going to go to the playoffs this year. I mean, they made the playoffs 2 years ago with a washed-up Big Ben. Last year, they almost made the playoffs with Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett as a rookie. I think this year the Steelers, I think it's safe to say the Steelers are going to be a playoff team this year. Number 2, the Diggs-Allen situation, as we said earlier, could very easily affect the Bills. 3 possessions on Saturday, no points. This situation, I didn't buy into it. I felt like the Bills were going to handle this. They'll be able to handle it. I don't think the situation is fixed, and I think this could be a problem that could definitely linger on during the season. I definitely think it's going to be a problem for this very easily could be a problem for the Bills. Number 3, Jackson Smith-Njigba has a chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and here's why. With the Seahawks having 2 really good receivers and the better corners being on those receivers, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, that's going to open up things for Smith-Njigba. He's going to be on a lot of probably number 2 or number 3 corners, so I think he's going to exploit that. I really like the play he had on Saturday night, the reception he had on Saturday night. He averaged over almost 20 yards a reception in the preseason game on Saturday. I know that he's hurt, but with what I've seen from Smith-Njigba, I think that he has a very, very good chance to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Number 4, Will Anderson is my Defensive Rookie of the Year. And I know I'm doing it off one play, but that one play impressed me so much. The way he came in unblocked, went right through the running back and took down Skylar Thompson. I'm telling you, to me, Will Anderson is going to have a good year. And for me, he is going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's my pick for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And number 5, I hate to say this as a Giants fan, Sam Howell I know it was against a bunch of backups for the Ravens, but Sam Howell looked pretty good. He looked pretty good on Monday night. I was impressed with the way Sam Howell looked. I was impressed with the way Washington's offense looked. It may not look this way all year long, but Sam Howell, it looks like he has a chance. He has a chance to be the guy in Washington. Huge opportunity this year for Sam Howell. But from what I've seen Monday night, it looks like he might have a chance to be the guy in Washington. Justin, your 5 takeaways.
Yeah, I'll start number 1. The one you just ended on with Sam Howell. Yeah, I was very, I was very impressed with the way he played. Again, he was supposed to be the top pick last year. I know he had a little bit of a down year in 2021 there, and fell all the way to the 5th round. Like this guy, this was kind of the guy that everybody thought was going to be the first overall pick. Again, that 3rd and 15 that he had there, I believe the second quarter. I thought the toughness was there. I think for Washington, yeah, there's definitely a sign of optimism that you have found a starting quarterback that's capable and going to be here for, hopefully the next long while. Yeah, again, against the Ravens second teamers, some of it, but again, I was just impressed with the way he looked. And again, right now, things for Washington, after the deal, after Snyder sold it, things are looking a little bit brighter in the nation's capital now with that team.
Yeah, and one more question before you get to number 2. How surprised were you that Sam Howell played this way? And do you think he can watch him play in North Carolina, you think he can keep Washington in playoff contention this year?
I think he can in that NFC. Now that division's going to be tough, and because, when we kind of talk college football later, Phil Longo, who was his OC in North Carolina, is kind of an air raid. And we've seen at times that some of these air raid quarterbacks have had kind of somewhat of have struggled to a sense, moving more to a traditional kind of pro style offense. And, I think maybe having the year off, or kind of the year where he kind of sat and watched most of it, I think helped him. And then I think Eric Bieniemy coming in too, where some of the same stuff that he, saw kind of maybe North Carolina that Bieniemy's maybe put in Washington, that's helping him out too. Because I think Eric Bieniemy is a very good offensive coordinator, and I think he's gonna have the playbook that's gonna most help Sam Howell have success, and I think we're gonna see that. So yeah, I think there's a chance. I don't know if they're gonna Washington to make the playoffs, but I think it's a team that could sneak around and could be in playoff contention up till week 17, week 18. I think they could.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens with Sam Howell. And yeah, I mean, and then the big thing I think too is we'll know how good Bieniemy is after this year. If he could have a big year with Sam Howell in this situation, Washington, that means he should definitely be a head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think there's a very good chance that things don't go well in Washington this year. I think he's the head coach and waiting for the Commanders. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's why he probably left Kansas City, kind of showed like, hey, it's not all, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are great, but like I'm doing my own thing, and I could kind of, I can have a successful offense, myself, and not, kind of get some more credit than he's gotten at Kansas City. So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think if he has a good year, and Sam Howell looks really good, that offense looks a lot better than it has for a while. I think he absolutely going to be head coach next season.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So number 2.
My second one, I'm with you with the Bills. I took away 2. You mentioned, they did not score. 2 of their 3 drives were 3 and outs. They had 13 penalties in 21 of the first 2 games. Like the discipline's not there either. Like, yeah, it's preseason. Yeah, as we mentioned a little bit ago, I starting to get more and more concerned with this offense as time goes on. And we looked at the schedule, and it's not very favorable there to start out early on. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried right now about the Buffalo Bills and that team. They really got to clean up. They got to clean up quickly. My third one, the only one that you had as well here was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team the Bills face. Yeah, I really, Kenny Pickett, you've seen the growth in him. Yeah, Mike Tomlin, that defense, they're going to be really good defensively like they usually are. That's going to be a tough division. I could see them making the playoffs. I think they're going to be better than the Browns now. I wasn't for sure certain on that before before preseason, but now I feel like they will be. Yeah, I think the Steelers, could definitely, with that offense, the way they've looked, I could see, because I feel like you got to get 10 wins and make the AFC playoffs, and I think that Steelers team could get to 10 wins, even in that division. My fourth one was the Panthers O-line. I know I mentioned last week about
that is
Bryce
bad.
Young. Yeah. Bryce Young weighs 180. He's gonna get killed.
Yeah,
out
but
there.
he has to play. He has to play.
I know he does. I know.
Wright has to scheme stuff up to get rid of the ball, get the ball out of his hands quick. He's got to play. You have no shot to do anything with Andy Dalton. You've got to see what you got to play Bryce Young. Let him learn this year. I know that team's not making the playoffs. Let him learn this year.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. Like, you do have to play him. I'm kind of saying, like, I don't know if he's going to make all 17 games. I really don't, because he's going to go up guys that are 250 pounds bigger than him. They're going to be hitting him. So
yeah.
I am very concerned, and I saw this from the Next Gen stats. Young was pressured on 28% of his dropbacks in the preseason opener, and 42% of the time on Friday night. It's it's going to be very concerned about the Panthers O-line right now, and they got to the Wright's got to figure out some, scheme some stuff up to help him out, because it's going to be a long year for Bryce Young in that Carolina team if he's got no protection at all. And then going to the number 2 overall pick to kind of finish things off here, I thought C.J. Stroud. I like the improvement that I saw. I thought he looked a lot more comfortable the other night against the Dolphins, and I think he looked a bit better than he did against the Patriots. I know the Patriots kind of threw some stuff at him that probably hasn't seen much at all in college. So again, I know they didn't do a ton, but what I saw from CJ Stroud, I thought was a little bit better than it was week 1. So I did see the growth and improvement a little bit. So I think it's a good sign for the Texans right now.
It definitely is. It absolutely is. But we got week 0 of the college football season starting up this Saturday. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, we got week 0 of the college football season that kicks off this week, and we start with a matchup in Ireland between Notre Dame and Navy. I think this is a game. I think this is going to be a pretty comfortable win for Notre Dame. I know Navy, they run the ball. They may stay in the game early, but eventually I think they'll turn the ball over a couple times. I think Sam Hartman has a couple touchdown passes, and I think Notre Dame starts the year off with a win. They start the year off 1-0, beating Navy 34-13. But Justin, what does Navy have to do to pull the upset against Notre Dame?
For Navy, again, it's kind of the stories all the time with them. They're going to run the triple option. They're going to, they want to play an offensive possession type game, keeping the other team offense off the field. That's the way they're going to try to do it. It could be it because Navy's going to have a couple more wrinkles this year. It sounds like they may go a little bit more shotgun this year. They're going to be more of a, they're going to try to push the ball to the edges a little bit more than they have the last couple of years because that's, because Ken Niumatalolo is gone. They fired him. He was an offensive guy, but they're not going to run the fullback dive as much. Like, they're still going to run the fullback dives and all that, but they're going to try to get more of the outside. And, it's going to be interesting because with some of the new blocking rules too, like you can't really cut block. Like that was huge for Navy. Like those are like that, those are big for them. So I think they've kind of struggled, but they got the possession wise. Their defense should be pretty good. Like this is the most returning starters they've had since like 1990. Like they're going to be better. They're going to be a bowl team, but they played Notre Dame tough last year. But again, you got Notre Dame breaking in Sam Hartman, a new quarterback. You got it. Brian Newberry, new Navy head coach has been the defense coordinator the last couple of years, so there is some familiarity there. I think Navy too. They're going to play a couple of quarterbacks. They don't have a number one at the moment, and that I think is going to be a problem. Or they did in Ted Roz Gilton, but he had to go to summer school because his grades didn't match, and that's when Navy practices during the summer. So he missed a lot of summer camp, so he kind of was the starter going in, but now because of that, probably will not see a lot of time. He may play a little bit, but probably won't be much. So for Navy, I think they're struggling offensively, but they got to get breaks. They gotta get a couple of breaks, a turnover or two. I think to be difficult. They played them tough in the second half last year, but I don't think Navy. I think they'll keep it closer a bit, but yeah, I don't think they have enough to beat the Irish.
Now, with the addition of Sam Hartman at quarterback, do you think ND can be a playoff team, a team that can make the CFP, the college football playoff with Sam Hartman? You look at the schedule; they got to play Ohio State, they got to go to Clemson, they got USC. I just don't see them beating all three of those teams. I think it's going to be tough for them to beat two of the three teams. I don't think they are, but do you think they could be a playoff team with Sam Hartman as their quarterback?
It's gonna be difficult. I think there's an outside chance. Yeah, they could get there. But yeah, I don't. Again, Ohio State, I was very surprised the way they played them last year. They did a really good job. USC, I know we'll get to USC, but their schedule, I think it kind of starts with that Notre Dame week. USC's got a tough kind of schedule. And again, the USC's defense, I can't bank on USC defense. So again, I could see Sam Hartman having a huge day, and being at home, I could see them upsetting them. And going to Clemson, that's going to be a revenge game for him. So Sam Hartman played a lot against Clemson. He's had some good games against them, but I think it's going to be difficult for him. So I could see that team going 9-3, 10-2 at the most. But I don't see that team upsetting two of the three you mentioned of Ohio State, USC, and Clemson. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it'll be tough for them. It'll be tough for them, but I think they're definitely have a better season because I think they have a really, really good quarterback in Sam Hartman. So now moving to the SEC, and we all know the big three coming into this season in the SEC. You obviously have Bama and Georgia, but with the quarterback, with Daniels returning for LSU, and Brian Kelly having a great first year for LSU, that's definitely a team that should make some noise in this conference again this year. But the big question is there another team outside of those three that could win the conference? And for me, that team is Tennessee. And the big reason for me is they got the Georgia game at home. Say they lose, because really, I think they play like three ranked teams. And I mean, two of them are Georgia and Alabama. They got Alabama on the road. All right, they lose that one. It's not a division game, but they have Georgia at home. And if they could somehow pull off a huge upset against Georgia in Knoxville, they would probably go to the SEC championship game and probably play Alabama again. So for me, if there's a team outside of those three that can win the SEC, it's Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Vols as well. I think that, again, that defense isn't going to be great, but I expect it to be a little bit better. I believe they got 7 guys coming back on the defensive side of the ball.
And don't forget, they got an experienced quarterback coming back. Got an experienced quarterback in Joe Milton, and you saw his performance in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. That was a really good performance. Yeah,
it was. He played really well, but couldn't get it done in Michigan, and was the starter going back to 2022, but got the interceptions there. Like, the thing with him is like the accuracy. Can he not turn the football over? That's kind of the big thing there for him. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'm with, 3 of the top 4 wide receivers are coming back. They're often to be very explosive. They, the other SEC West team they got to play is A&M, but I think they should knock them off. Florida, I am very concerned about the Gators. I'm very concerned about the Gators right now and the future of Florida football. With Georgia and Tennessee kind of taking off, and with Mike Norvell at Florida State, I kind of worry about Billy Napier and the Gators. So I think Tennessee right now, I think they are kind of them in Georgia. Georgia's on like the top tier, of course. Vols are on the next kind of level behind, and then it's like the other 5 in that division. So. Yeah, I'm with you there. Joe Milton, with that arm he's got, if he could kind of protect the football, I think the Vols, outside the top 3, I think have the best shot to win the conference.
Now we'll go to the Big Ten, and we'll start with Harbaugh's suspension. I think that was kind of a slap on the wrist. It's not really that big of a deal. He's not going to coach in games against ECU, UNLV, and Bowling Green. 3 easy wins. He won't coach in either of those 3 games. That's not a big deal. But the big question is, we look at the Big Ten. Is there anybody outside of Michigan and Ohio State that could win this conference? And I looked at it. I looked at two teams. Obviously, my team in Penn State and Wisconsin. And I think the big difference between the two teams is all of Wisconsin's big games are at home. The game against Iowa, they play two ranked teams. The game against Iowa, that's at home. The game against Ohio State, that's at home. So say they lose to Ohio State, and that's their only loss in conference, and they would have a shot to beat them in the Big Ten championship game. You look at Penn State; they have to play Michigan and Ohio State. I understand Franklin plays hardball really, really tough at Happy Valley. Harbaugh does have trouble at Happy Valley. He won there close in 2021, but Penn State was 7-5. He went to the college football playoff, so he has a lot of trouble in Happy Valley. But here's the issue with Penn State. You look at Penn State's first two Big Ten games; those are tough games. That Illinois game on the 16th is a sneaky tough game with Brett Bielema. Brett Bielema, you saw last year, he's changing the culture there. He's definitely changing. He almost beat Michigan last year. He's changing the culture. That's going to not be an easy game. Especially Drew Aller playing on the road in the Big Ten. That's not going to be an easy game in the opener. And then they play Iowa, a team and Kirk Ferentz, we know how much Kirk Ferentz gives Penn State fits. He owns Penn State. Kirk Ferentz is great against Penn State. So when I look at the two teams, the team that I think outside of Michigan, Ohio State that could win the Big Ten is Wisconsin. They got the running back coming back, and they got the favorable schedule.
Yeah, I agree with you that those two, Penn State and Wisconsin. I think I would probably be the whiteout game. If you look, I think so. Usually they do pretty good in the whiteout game. Yeah. That would be a CBS one too, which is weird. Big Ten on CBS this year. That'll take some getting used to. But yeah, Drew Aller coming in. He's supposed to be kind of, again, Sean Clifford was a very good quarterback. He could not get Penn State to the next level. Drew Aller is supposed to be that guy. I know James Franklin struggled in the big game, but I said it last week. I think this is the year Penn State wants to kind of beat, go 7-1 with or 8-1 with Ohio State and Michigan. I think this is the year for them. I love them offensively on the offensive defensive line. I think they're going to be right there with Michigan and Ohio State at that talent level, which I think, again, if they could stay healthy, I know they've had some injury concerns the last couple of years up front, but if they could stay healthy, that's going to be huge. And they got a great running back room too with Nicholas Singletary and Karen Island. So I think Penn State's going to be right there with them. They might lose the tiebreaker because I think it goes, if it is Ohio State, Michigan, they have a tiebreaker with. I think it goes to whoever you played out of the West who has the best record, and that's probably going to get Ohio. That's probably going to be Ohio State. It's probably going to get in because they play Wisconsin. So they might lose that tiebreaker there, but you worry about that at that moment if they get there. And then, with Wisconsin too, it's going to be a different Wisconsin. They're going to run. They're calling it the dairy raid. That Phil Longo, the old North Carolina OC, is coming in. Tanner Mordecai, I had a terrific career so far. He had 9 touchdowns last year in a game against Houston.
Luke Fickles had a lot of success. Luke Fickles had a lot of success too.
Yes, and I think that's why that offense, because there's a lot of guys back, but I think Luke Fickles is going to do really good job, make sure that offense is kind of tailored to them. Because I go back to 2020 North Carolina when they had Michael Carter and Javonte Williams, and they just ran the ball. They both had over 1,000 yards, and I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to spread you out, but they're going to run the football. It'll be interesting in November how Wisconsin up there at home, or even the Big Ten West in general, how they do in those conditions in November. But Wisconsin's be a different team now offensively, and I think Wisconsin's going to run away with the West. And again, they're going to be able to spread out Ohio State, and maybe they keep that game close. I could see it because they struggled with Michigan. Michigan's bullied them around. Can Wisconsin do the same? I think they got the personnel, but I don't know if they got the talent yet to do it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. And Penn State is definitely the more talented team. And but I do think, say they wind up in a 3-way tie, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, Penn State might end up having that, winning that tiebreaker, because I think Iowa and Illinois might be the two of the top 3 teams in the West. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they absolutely could. I could see it. Yeah, you mentioned Illinois. Brett Bielema's done an unbelievable job with that program, turning around so quickly. He's recruiting pretty well, for Illinois too. So I could see Illinois they got Wisconsin at home, and which helps. They got Nebraska at home, I believe, as well. And I think out of the East they got Penn State, but that's at home. Indiana and at Maryland, which Maryland will be tough on the road, but it's a game Illinois can win. So I could see it where Illinois and Iowa could make some noise this year. And Iowa too. Brian Ferentz, the OC, they got to put up 25 points a game or he's fired. So Iowa's offense has got to put up some points this year.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So it should be interesting to see what happens in the Big Ten. We'll move over to the Pac-12. And the big question going into the Pac-12 season is should USC, with Caleb Williams being back and him and Lincoln Riley being together in year 2, should they be the favorite to win the Pac-12? And I think they should. I think they should because I know I play at Notre Dame, but I do like their schedule in the Pac-12. They host Washington. They host Utah. The only really tough road game is Oregon. That's the only really tough road game they have on that schedule. So they host Washington, they host Utah. So I do think USC, and I know I was a USC guy all year. Yeah. You weren't, and you got me last year in the championship game. So, but for me, I'm still riding the USC train with Caleb Williams. I think they should be the favorite to win the Pac-12.
They should. Can they tackle anybody this year? Because that had to be one of the worst tackling teams I think I've ever seen. They were so bad in that area, which I do worry. I don't know. They should be on paper, but I don't know. I know you talked about their schedules. It is favorable, but it's all at the end of the year. I'm they got Notre Dame on the road in mid-October. The next week they got at Utah. You have Cal on the road, which Cal played them tough last year. That game they should win, but be tough. And then you end with Washington at home, at Oregon, and then you host UCLA at end it. Again, I could see a couple, and they have an early bye. Their bye is September 16th. It's week 3. I worry about USC. I don't know if they'll get. I think on paper they should be, but I won't be shocked if they don't get there because if Cam Rising was healthy, I'd say no. I'd say Utah, and I'll get to my kind of dark horse, a team that could win it. I wouldn't be surprised if USC is not in the Pac-12 championship game. Their offense would be great, yes, but again, with those teams late in the year where they haven't had a bye, injuries, could you ask Caleb Williams to put up 50 points a game week in and week out? I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I do worry about them towards the end there. I don't know. I can't till I see it from the defensive side of the ball. I can't trust the Trojans. I can't.
Wow. And who is your dark horse to win the Pac-12?
I got the Beavers of Oregon State.
Yeah, 18. They're number 18 in the country.
Yeah. I love that Damian Martinez is one of the most underrated backs in the country. As a freshman, he had over 1,000 yards. Jonathan Smith is one of the most underrated coaches in the country. He's done a great job. All-time leading passer over in State, and he's done a great job of rebuilding this program. And again, with everybody leaving the Pac-12, I think Jonathan Smith is going to have that team fired up. Hey, let's stick it to the rest of the conference here. And DJ's coming in, transfer from Clemson. If he could, because Oregon State, that whole offensive line's coming back. They were great at running the ball last year. Their problem was they could not throw it. If DJ just come in and just be okay, not turn the ball over, not make a ton of mistakes, do a little bit more to manage the game. Again, I think the Beavers could win this conference. Their defense, they're breaking a whole new secondary. That's my worry because if you look at the Pac-12, this is going to be such a fun league with all the great quarterbacks they have in this conference. This is probably going to be one of the funnest leagues in the country this year. There's going to be a lot of points scored. I do worry about that secondary a little bit, but I'm going to go with the Beavers. I like the way they played last year at the end. They really played well against USC last year. They did a really nice job of getting pressure after Caleb Williams. They avoid USC this year. I think the Beavers could surprise some folks and win the Pac-12, more than likely the final Pac-12 season.
Yeah. Well, that would definitely be a surprise that happens. Now, moving on to the Big 12. The big question here is Texas, obviously the favorite to win the conference. They got Xavier Worthy. You got Quinn Ewers coming back. Should they be the favorite to win the conference?
Oh, yeah. It will be a huge disappointment, I think, if Texas is not win the conference champion. They by far have the most talent in this league. If you look at the unit rankings, they're one across the board. They're number one. If what's his name? Steve Herkes does not win this thing, I don't know if they'll fire. I think they go 9-4, 10-3. I don't know if they'd fire him, but I think it raised a lot of eyebrows going to Pac-12 or SEC. Hey, we didn't win one this year. We're probably not winning one with him in the SEC.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. I love their offensive line. I love their defensive line. It should be great. And they bring back everybody in the offense besides Bijan Robinson. Like, this offense is going to be very good.
And that's a team that almost beat Alabama last year.
Yeah. They probably should have if a couple calls didn't go against them. So
yeah.
They'll have their rematch week 2. But it sounds like Quinn Ewers has grown up, and he seems like he's more poised this year. It seems like the maturity level's better. So we'll see. I know we talked about it last week. Until I see it from Texas, I cannot go with the Texas back thing, but it'd be a disappointment if this team doesn't win it. They're by far have the most, because I do worry about Oklahoma. I think they'll be better, but I have some concerns there. So Texas should win this thing.
So who is your dark horse in the Big 12? You told me last week you like Texas Tech. Are they probably your dark horse in the Big 12?
Yeah. Everybody back on offense. Year 2 under Andrew Cutley, their offense coordinator, who was with Bailey Zappi at Western Kentucky, where he put up that monster season, and then was with Bailey Zappi as well when they were together at Houston Baptist. So year 2 under that system, they got all 11 guys coming back. They avoid Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, and they get Kansas State at home this year. They got 15 super seniors, which with that, those guys have played a lot of football, and the O-line should be better this year. Look, they got some tough road games, but I think if things break their way, they got some last year as well. I think Tech could do it. I really like the squad that they got, and we're going to see them week 2 against Oregon. They're coming to Lubbock, so that's going to be a heck of a matchup there Saturday night in week 2.
You're probably excited to watch that one.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. That should be a fun one. That should be a lot of points scored in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll move on. We'll wrap up talking about the ACC. And the big question here is there any team outside of FSU, UNC, and Clemson that could that could win this conference? And I say absolutely not, because I think this is the worst conference in the Power 5, and there isn't even a ranked team outside of those 3.
Yeah, I'm like Pitt, I think could. But my problem is their offense. Like, they're old school. They're going to run the football. They're going to run a lot of the ace formation stuff. And Phil Dracovic, he's reuniting with his old offense coordinator at Boston College, Frank Signetti. So I think Phil Dracovic, he stay healthy. I think Pitt could be pretty good. That everybody on the defensive side of the ball is coming back besides their defensive line. But Pittsburgh always develops great defensive linemen. I think they'll be able to do that. They've been so good at putting pressure on the quarterback. I think they could. I believe that they have North Carolina, Florida State at home, and they avoid Clemson. So I think Pitt could have an outside shot, but like I'm not banking on it. Like, if I had to pick one, it would be Pittsburgh.
Yeah, to me, there's really no other team. And who do you think wins out of these 3 teams? Florida State, Clemson, and UNC. Who do you think wins the conference? I think it's definitely going to be Clemson, because I like the fact that their big games are all at home. They play Florida State at home, and they play UNC at home. Their big games are at home. So I'm going to take Clemson to win the conference.
Yeah, I'm with you. I got Tigers this year. I think Florida State's gonna be really good. But yeah, that game being at home against the Seminoles, I think they'll be able to take care of business. I like how because Dabo is kind of like Bill Belichick, where he likes his coaching staff to be within the family. Like, he likes to kind of promote guys within. And he went out and he got Lincoln Riley's younger brother, Garrett Riley, who was the offensive coordinator at TCU last year. So I expect that offense to be a lot better this year. Their offensive line should be back, up towards like an elite level, like they were, when they had Trevor Lawrence and all those guys. So and their defensive line is going to be great. I expect Cade Klubnik to take that next step this year. Behind him, they don't have much depth. So, like, if he gets hurt or something, yeah, I kind of have some concerns there. They got I think the backup right now is Bear Bryant's great grandson and Paul Tyson. So that might be the backup if things get dicey there for Clemson. But yeah, I expect the Tigers to win this thing. And yeah, Florida State's got a chance. North Carolina, I could see, but like USC, could they stop anybody? That's my issue. I don't know if they're defensively they're going to be able to, I think their defense is going to lose them a couple games.
Absolutely. So we are now going to give our Final Four for the college football playoff. I'll start with mine. The number 1 seed and the SEC champion, I think, is going to be Georgia. I think they're going to get the number 1 seed and they're going to win the SEC. Number 2, my number 2 seed is going to be Michigan. I think Michigan wins the Big Ten. I think with Corum back, with McCarthy back, and they get Ohio State at home, so I think they win the Big Ten. Number 3 for me is going to be Alabama. I do think Alabama goes undefeated throughout the season, but I do think they lose the SEC title game to Georgia. Number 4, this was a tough one, but I'm going with USC. I'm going with Caleb Williams to lead the Trojans to the college football playoff. He was close last year, lost the Pac-12 championship game, but I think he is going to lead the USC. It was tough between them and Clemson. But Clemson, yeah, they play some big games at home, but I think they might slip up in one of those games, and I think they could slip up in that last game against South Carolina. So I am going to go with the USC Trojans. I'm going to go with the Trojans as my number 4 team in the college football playoffs. So my top 4 are Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, USC.
I like it. Alabama, I could see, Alabama, USC. USC is the one. Like, yeah, I could see him in there. I got to see him play defense first. I got to see it. But my 4, so I got a couple kind of the same that you started out with here. I got Georgia win the SEC championship game, going undefeated yet again, getting the 1 seed. Number 2, I got Michigan as well. I think they beat Ohio State again because I think Michigan's built to beat Ohio State. They're not built to win the national championship, but they're built to beat Ohio State. I think they do it yet again. Number 3 for me, I got the Clemson Tigers getting back in the college football playoff. I think they do run the table this year. I think they do beat Florida State at home. I think they get them twice, because I think they'll play again in the ACC championship game. I think they'll knock them off yet again. And then my 4th one, I got the Buckeyes sneaking. I think they go 11-1. And I think they find a way because I don't think
that Notre Dame game is big for them on the road. That Notre Dame game is big because if they could win that, they could lose to Michigan and still get in. If they lose it, they're done.
Yep. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. If they go on the road, beat Notre Dame yet again, I think that's going to go a long way for them in the end there. And yeah, because I think Texas wins the Big 12. I think they got to slip up once or twice in there. My thoughts on USC. I don't think they're going to win it. And I think Utah's going to win the Pac-12, but Cam Wright's not going to be healthy the Florida game, and they're playing Baylor week 2, and they could lose that Baylor. So I think that could already put Utah out of the conversation. So that's why I think the second Big Ten team gets in yet again in the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think they get another chance with Georgia. That again, Marvin Harrison going up against them would be awesome. And maybe this time around, Ohio State's gonna be able to knock off the King college football last couple years.
Yeah, exactly. And now for the championship, I'm going to go with Georgia over USC in the semi, Alabama over Michigan, and then I don't think it happens. I don't think Georgia beats them again. I don't think they three-peat. I think Alabama beats Georgia in the national championship game, in the national title game, and Nick Saban gets ring number 8.
Going back with Saban, this would be the year when everybody's kind of down on them. They're kind of, hey, Georgia, look at Georgia. This is the year you usually kind of see Saban. His teams are ready to go. So I would not be shocked if they get back there in the national spot, another national title for him, and would cement his legacy for the few out there that are kind of like,
Oh, stop it. He's the greatest college coach of all time.
Oh, yeah, he absolutely is.
Bar none, absolutely. Bar none, he's the greatest college coach of all time.
He absolutely is. And for me, I got the Buckeyes knocking off Georgia. I'm going to Ohio State. I think they find a way this year. They were close last year.
They get their revenge.
I think they get it. Yeah, I think they do. And then I got Clemson knocking off Michigan. I think Clemson gets back to the national championship game.
Wow, and Clemson and Ohio State. Where are you going with?
There. And I got the Buckeyes. I'll take the Buckeyes. I know quarterback's a question, but again, when's the last time we've seen Ohio State quarterback not do well?
Exactly. And if their quarterback is good, I think they have a very good chance of winning it all. Because that's the big question mark. It's the quarterback. They're loaded at the skill positions. If the quarterback's good, I think they have a very good chance of winning it all.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. They got so many loaded wide receivers. Like you can go, they got 4 or 5 guys deep, and then they got 2 great running backs in Mayan Williamson and Travion Henderson. Like they got such a great offense, and I think this is the year. I don't think Georgia's good. I think Georgia's as good as they, or not as good as they've been. I don't think there's that elite team this year, and I think Ohio State finds a way to finally get back there and get a national trophy and get some pressure off of Ryan Day.
Exactly, because this Ryan Day being fired is a little ridiculous. He's been to the college football playoff three of the 4 years he's been a head coach. Can we stop it? Ryan Day needs to be fired. He's not Urban Meyer, but very, very, very few college coaches are Urban Meyer. Ryan Day is still a very, very good college football coach, and there should not be talk about him being fired.
I completely agree with you. I know I know it's tough when you're losing to Michigan and after you.
Yeah, but then the Michigan fans talked about that about Harbaugh early on about how he should go after he loses to Ohio State, and then he beats Ohio State 2 in a row, and they want to keep him forever now.
Yep. Yeah. So you just got to keep win a couple there for Ryan Day, and I don't know if they'll beat him this year because it's in Ann Arbor, but look, I think he'll make up for it if he can win a national championship. And I think this is the year with Marvin Harrison, if he could stay healthy this year, I think Ohio State, Ryan Day. I'm with you. I think it's ridiculous that people want him out and people want him fired. I think it's nonsense, but hey, that's college football. With some of those fan bases, they don't like losing.
Exactly. So we'll see. Very interesting college football season coming up, and it all starts on Saturday in Ireland with Notre Dame and Navy. But we're going to wrap up the show talking about the Red Sox. And I know the Red Sox swept the Yankees, but the last 2 nights they lost to the Astros, and they're still not in a very good spot right now. They're 5 games out of the wild card spot, and looking at their schedule coming up, looking at their next 8 games, I honestly don't think they're going to win more than 3 of them, because this team since the All-Star break has really, really struggled beating good teams. They lost 2 out of 3 to Seattle. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants. They got did they lose 2 out of 3? Yeah, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants. They got swept to Toronto. They've already lost 2 to Houston. I'm telling you, this team just, with seeing what they did at the trade deadline, they can't, in the second half of the year, they can't beat good teams. I mean, they're not playing the Yankees every game. Okay, I know they've been great against the Yankees this year. They're not playing them every game. They're playing teams that are a lot better than the Yankees, and they need to step this up, or this season is going to be over before they know it. Before the middle of September, if they don't start playing better and start playing better against good teams. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. Yeah, they beat up on the Yankees, which again everybody's doing that now these days. So Devers had a great weekend against, which he always does against the Yankees, and then last night he had a huge error. Had a tough night Monday. I think he had another error Monday night. He's had a rough series, and you could see Corey with some frustration last night. Him and Verlander kind of went at it. Corey got ejected.
If they collapse, like say they end up 500 and they finish and they don't fire High and Bloom, if I'm Alex Cora, I'm looking for another managerial job. Honestly, I don't trust this I would not trust this GM to build a championship team for me. If they collapse, if they keep losing, this continues. If I'm Alex Cora, I'm trying to get out of there. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because he should be man. He's a top 10 manager, even top 5 manager in the game. He should be managing teams that are right around 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he shouldn't. And I know a fan base a little bit south that would love to have him. I know it would never happen in the Bronx.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
The man this team, but the Yankees. But yeah, I know that won't happen. So I agree. I think I wonder what his relationship is with Chaim Bloom. I don't really know.
Great. I don't think it's great.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine, even though he was, I can't imagine it is. But yeah, like this Red Sox team, you got the Dodgers weekend, who I think the Dodgers since like 2020, the month of August, are like 81 and 22.
That's going to be
it's crazy like that.
That's going to be a brutal series this weekend. This is a brutal. Like we said, we're going to show what the Red Sox are made of in this stretch. And right now, it hasn't started very well because they're 0-2. Thank God for their sake they won on Sunday, because they'd be in even more trouble if they didn't win on Sunday. So, but this is the stretch. We said 16 of their next 19 games are against really good teams. You got the 7 games with the Astros. You already lost 2 of them. Then you got 3 with the Dodgers. You got 3 at Tampa, and then you host Baltimore for 3 games. So you're playing playoff teams right now. This is the time where you got to show: are you a contending team? Are you a team that could contend for a championship? And I thought with what they did at the trade deadline, they definitely are not, and they're proving me right in these first 2 games.
Yeah,
against
absolutely.
The
Astros. They showed they went 3 for 18 run and scoring position Monday night. Last night it was not great again. Last night they struggled yet again with run and scoring position. So so far they've struggled. And again, they blew. They had a 3-0 lead to jump off the bat there on Monday
night.
And
then Paxton blows it. The Paxton just gives it right back.
Yeah, he struggled.
And that's the problem with this team. They just don't have enough pitching.
Yeah, on 4 days rest, his ERA is like doubled, I believe, than what he's getting on 5 days rest. So that's kind of been the concern so far with him, is kind of he needs that 5th day, but you're kind of at a point where you need him to go out there every 4 or 5, 4 days, depending on the schedule, to go make a start. So, that's been a little bit concern there for him. So, yeah, and look, they got Sale on the mound tonight. Like, tonight is a game where Jose Urquidy's not been great, lately. His last start against the Angels was pretty good. He went 5 innings, only gave up 1 run and struck out 7. But there's a game tonight with Sale, your ace on the mound. You got to try to win one. You got to try to win this one. So, for Boston, they can turn around today. But
here's the thing about Chris Sale. He's not pitching he didn't pitch like an ace last time.
No, he didn't, and that's a concern. And you hope that because the velocity, I believe, was down too, which is a little bit of a worry. But again, maybe because it's he's still working his way back. You hope that the velocity kind of continues to get up there. But again, I just think with Core last night, and I think there's some frustration now where I think he knows this thing's gonna kind of get out of control here very quickly if they can't find a way to win a series. If they can, beat Houston here, that he knows going home against the Dodgers, where it's going to be emotional kind of series with Mookie Betts coming back to Boston for the first time. And they faced Lance Lynn Monday night, who, again, no surprise, has been awesome with the Dodgers. Of course, they turned him back into the Lance Lynn a couple years ago.
You mean Friday night?
Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. Yeah, Lynn goes. So
and let me tell you, Mookie Betts better be getting cheered. On Friday night, because that would be a disgrace to that fan base if they boo Mookie Betts, because you know what, it's not Mookie's fault the Red Sox didn't give him what he should have got. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. High and Bloom is cheap. He should be getting cheered. He should be getting cheered on Friday.
Yeah, no, he absolutely should. I think he will. I think Red Sox fans are at a point where they can't stand High and Bloom, and they all wanted Mookie back, and I think Mookie will get a big applause. And unfortunately, I know JD Martinez won't be. I know he won the IL yesterday, so I know he won't be available this weekend. But I think he'll get a big kind of standing ovation there. His first at bat back in Boston, and I think like this weekend they got to try to take out 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. The way the Dodgers are playing right now, that's not happening.
They'll be lucky to win a game. They'll be lucky to win a game with the Dodgers.
Maybe Sunday, because it's Mitch Grove, I think, is going Sunday. So that may be the one you get.
Yeah, you might get the Sunday game, but, you look at Crawford against Lynn. I think the Dodgers win that one. Paxton against Urias. I think the Dodgers win that one. And then you look at these next – what do you say?
Urias has pitched a lot better of late.
Exactly. And then you look at the games on Wednesday and Thursday. You look at Sale against Urquidy, and then you look at Bello against France. I think they might win one of those. I'm telling you, they'll be lucky to win their next 5, they'll be lucky to win 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they get one of these 2 here in Houston. JB France has been really good, for Houston. He's had a really nice rookie year for him in the back end of the rotation. And Friday, Saturday are going to be 2 tough ones. You're going to have to beat Mitch Grove on Sunday. And that's kind of the one you got a good shot at winning. And how, settled in after kind of rough start there, but wasn't great. They're going to need him to pitch well on Sunday. So, I'm with you. I think they can get 2 out of the next 5, but it's going to be very difficult. And then you got Houston coming back to town next week. And that's going to be another tough series for them.
It absolutely will. So that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We are back next week doing our NFL season preview. So definitely make sure you tune in for that. And we will be previewing week 1 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.